Don't know what I'm going to do. I might shoot myself this afternoon.
In his tiny settlement, but on Radio Total, he's a star.
And 1,000 miles from there, an appeal court in Chile has thrown out kidnap and murder charges against the former dictator Augusto Pinochet. The order for the general's house arrest was also lifted after the judges ruled that he should have been questioned before the order was made. Human rights lawyers will now appeal to Chile's Supreme Court. There are hopes that President Clinton's visit to Ireland could give fresh impetus to the peace process. He arrives in Dublin tomorrow, then travels on to Belfast on his third visit to the province. The President's made it clear he wants both sides to get on with implementing the Good Friday Agreement. But at the moment, the talks are still deadlocked on a series of issues, including the decommissioning of terrorist weapons and policing.
No, it's not somewhere in the United States, it's Belfast. It may seem an unlikely setting for a Super League game, and perhaps the Belfast Giants against the Bracknell Bees may not seem the most glamorous of fixtures. But 7,000 people turned up for this one. A sign of changed times in Belfast, no sectarian worries, and the venue is the new multi-million-pound Odyssey Arena where President Clinton will speak on Wednesday. The fans we spoke to mostly agreed he'd had a sizable impact on the peace process.
He's done his bit, but sure, it's up to everybody else to do their bit, isn't it?
Well, I always believe it's nice to see a head of state come to Northern Ireland, and I'd like to think he's just not here for the sake of the peace process. I would love to see him here on numerous occasions.
I think so. I think the visit to the province will make a big impress on the people here.
The people of Northern Ireland turned out in their thousands to greet the President on his first visit, and yet again this time the peace process is in considerable difficulty over issues like policing and the decommissioning of paramilitary weapons. So can a president in his last days in office make a difference?
We may not see a dramatic breakthrough this week in the difficulties we have, but I think that what President Clinton can do and will do, because he has that understanding of people's needs and their concerns, and he has a reach right across the board in Northern Ireland and can talk to people, I think what we will see is a further push made towards finding that resolution that we need.
The first part of this trip is in Dublin, the preparations in the final stages. The Irish government believes the President can be a catalyst on the political problems, and they're convinced that whoever is the next president, Mr. Clinton's going will not produce a vacuum.
The two presidential candidates have given an indication that Ireland will still be to the fore of American foreign policy. I think so much public support has been built up in America, in North America, and the bipartisan support of Congress, of course, will continue.
There had been initial hopes of a breakthrough in the process this week, but now expectations are lower. At the same time, some kind of advance can't be ruled out, and this visit might still prove to be more than a lap of honour farewell. Dennis Murray, BBC News, Dublin.
England's cricketers are on the way home tonight after an historic series victory in Pakistan. The last time an English team won a series there was almost 40 years ago. Nasser Hussein's side came from behind this morning, bowling their opponents out cheaply and then scrambling the winning runs in near darkness.
The England bowlers snuffed out any chance of a Pakistan win this morning as the wickets tumbled, 7 of them. It was Darren Gough who ended the innings with Pakistan on 158. This had become a match and a series that England could now win. 4 runs and over needed, and the hero of the first innings, Michael Atherton, set England on course towards the 176 needed for victory. His, though, was the first wicket to fall as England tried to step up the run rate. At the other end, Marcus Trescothick was thumping the loose ball, but he and Alex Stewart were out in quick succession, bringing Graham Thorpe and Graham Hick together for the key stand of the innings. Amid lengthening shadows, these two put on 91, mainly in singles with the occasional boundary. By the time Hick was out, it was very dark and England still needed 20 runs. The gloom didn't help the fielding side either. No one appeared to see the ball as Thorpe stroked it through the covers to bring England within 2 runs of victory.
The fielders have not seen it.
The winning shot came next ball, a first win in Pakistan for England since 1961. No one was more delighted than the England captain Nasser Hussain. This was a historic victory, the first time Pakistan have ever lost at Karachi. The triumphant England team had confounded the critics who predicted they would come to Pakistan and lose.
To come out here and win like this, that, out there tonight was beats anything.
One of Hussein's achievements has been to generate the sort of spirit that helps create a winning team.
Happy to let the camera in.
The character inside was there, it was shown. And we know we've got a lot of things to work on, plenty of things still to work on, but to come back from that situation we wouldn't have done before and just stay in the game.
After 39 years.
England have now won 3 series on the trot. After a break for Christmas, their next test is in Sri Lanka early in the new year. Adam Minot, BBC News.
It's 10:25, and I'll be back a little later with the latest on the day's headlines. But now, the news where you are.
Good evening. A Plymouth-based salvage firm claims it's in talks with Pete Goss's HQ about a plan to recover their £4 million catamaran. Team Phillips is adrift after being abandoned in a violent Atlantic storm over the weekend. Posted on the internet, these pictures show Team Phillips before the storm that forced the 7-man crew to abandon the vessel in mid-Atlantic. They're now safe on board a German container ship, due to arrive in Halifax, Nova Scotia on Thursday. But the catamaran is still adrift in the North Atlantic, some 600 miles west of Ireland, under constant bombardment from waves and weather. The priority is to rescue her as soon as possible. The Plymouth-based salver, Nigel Boston, on board his salvage vessel, the Terschelling, in the foreground of this picture, is engaged on research work about 200 miles from the stricken catamaran. He's now in negotiation with the Team Phillips project to pick up the vessel.
There's a certain sort of loop of underwriters and surveyors and insurance companies that do give us a call for certain aspects of specialist work. And there's obviously a certain league, different leagues in which different sort of salvage operations can be carried out, and we're in a certain league that would fit that bill, yeah.
But the operation is likely to be a difficult and dangerous one.
The main hazards of this operation, we were talking about the winter North Atlantic, extremely bad weather, cold conditions, and there's going to be the practical aspect of getting a line onto the vessel itself, which will involve some seafarer having to get across onto the vessel itself.
That all this team has been.
In Paris today, the organisers of the race said they were disappointed that Team Phillips wouldn't be taking part, but that the race would go ahead on the 31st of December.
We are a bit sad, to be very honest, especially because we are probably among the very few to understand the level of involvement and courage and dare that all this team has been putting together for years.
Today, many of the Team Phillips sponsors, including the Southwest-based Pennon Group, have been quick to reaffirm their commitment to the team.
Actually, BT and all the sponsors are very proud to have been associated with this project and remain committed to Pete Goss. I think he's achieved incredible amounts. He's rewritten the rule book of maritime design. Unfortunately, the natural elements conspired against him on this occasion, but he's not defeated. He'll bounce back.
Several of the crew have young families who followed the venture from the outset. On the Team Phillips website, Pete Goss's young son, Alex, has posted his own comment on what's happened. On the subject of my dad, he writes, "It is better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all. I love my dad, and I'm proud of him." A message which has elicited an avalanche of supportive emails from well-wishers who clearly believe Pete Goss's dream may have hit stormy waters, but certainly hasn't sunk without trace. Railtrack says the main line to Paddington could be closed until the weekend because of damage caused in last week's floods. Trains are severely disrupted again and more bad weather is on the way. Meanwhile, the Christmas timetables should arrive in stations tomorrow and passengers are being